Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with the Spain News Update. And Spaniards are getting ready for one of the most expensive summers in a long time, but more about that in just a moment. Firstly, a big thanks to all of the people that left comments on the last video. Lots of comments, lots of debate happening there as usual. Thanks to people that supported the channel through a donation or by buying me a beer or a coffee, or people that used the new super thanks option. Many thanks for that. Thanks to people that bought merchandise, and a big thanks to my patrons on Patreon for your ongoing support. Now, let's get into the news, and as I said, Spaniards are preparing for an expensive summer season, record inflation, and some hotels around the country are up 40% on last year's prices. As we can see here, the most prohibitive summer inflation makes Spaniards' holidays more expensive, and hotels soar by up to 40%. After 2 years of pandemic, crisis in the tourism sector, and tough restrictions on mobility, Spaniards are facing their first summer of freedom, but also one of the most expensive in a long time. Inflation is affecting hotels, flights, and package holidays to such an extent that many people find their holidays threatened because they cannot afford the cost. Spain, with one of the highest inflation rates in Europe, is one of the most expensive countries for holidays. So there we go, inflation affecting many things related to tourism at the moment: hotels, flights, and package holidays. And as we saw in that article, it's going to be one of the most expensive summers here in Spain for a long time. So if you're planning a trip to Spain in the next few months, be prepared. Now, elections in Andalusia are just around the corner. The 19th of June, I think, is the date for those elections, and polls are suggesting that it's going to be an easy victory for the right side of politics in that part of Spain. As we can see here, the left fails to take off and the PP consolidates its lead in Andalusia. The left side of politics has 7 days and one debate left to try to get the wind to shift in the Andalusian electoral race. So far in the campaign, there has been little movement in voter preferences, according to the second wave of the 40 dB poll for El País and Cadena SER on next Sunday's elections. The PP maintains a solid lead, which would allow it to win more seats than the whole of the left together, and the leadership of its candidate, the current president, Juan Manuel Moreno, is strengthened compared to the previous poll 3 weeks ago. The left does not take off, while Vox barely notices the push of its competitor on the right and even shows an upward trend. So according to that article and polls done by that newspaper, the left in Andalusia dead in the water. Now, keeping on the left side of politics here in Spain, Labour Minister Yolanda Díaz has launched her own political project. And as we can read here, she has joined Errejón to walk together from now on in her event without Podemos leaders. The best is yet to come, she says. We have done many things together, but from now on, the best is yet to come. Yolanda Díaz has already publicly reached out to Íñigo Errejón to walk together in their new political journey, which will begin after the elections in Andalusia, where this Sunday both have supported the candidate of Por Andalucía Inma Nieto and have called for mobilization as a decisive factor for the results of the Andalusian left. The second vice president's weekend in the 19th of June campaign, in which she has been twice swamped by the public, has notably accelerated the communicative dynamics of her plans. So Yolanda Díaz and Íñigo Errejón deciding to walk together and saying that the best is yet to come. Que bonito. Now, Spain's latest diplomatic spat, this time with Algeria, continues to make headlines. And according to this headline from newspaper ABC, Algeria will wait for a change of government in Spain to rebuild relations. Algeria has decided to break off political relations with Pedro Sanchez's government and considers that there is no possibility of restoring them until there is a change of government in Spain. This is the idea that emerges from all the comments coming out of the Algerian capital. The extremely tense tone of the communique published late on Saturday is only an indication of the deep irritation caused by the change of position on the Sahara and the fact that Sanchez has reneged on all the promises he has made to the Algerians throughout this crisis since the outbreak of the Ghali affair. As the president, Abdelmadjid Tebboune, has already said, Algeria has very strong relations with the Spanish state, but Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has spoiled everything. So Algeria is saying that they're going to wait until there is a change of government here in Spain to mend relations. That could be next year, or it could be in 5 years' time. And for Algeria, it's clear who the cause of all these tensions is: Pedro Sanchez. Now, as we all know, Spain currently has a shortage of wait staff. Some 50,000 jobs in that sector need to be filled for the summer season. And in Pamplona, in the north of Spain, which is currently getting ready for a big San Fermin festival, a lack of waiters there could mar this year's festival. As we can see here, precarious working conditions leads to a shortage of waiters for San Fermin 2022. There is less than a month left to celebrate San Fermin in style after 2 years of restrictions due to the coronavirus pandemic, which is why Pamplona is preparing for huge celebrations and needs hundreds of waiters. In Navarra alone, there are 32,000 unemployed people, but few want to work in the hotel and catering industry because they say the conditions are precarious. Antena 3 Noticias has been able to talk to waiters who have worked in San Fermin in previous years, putting in marathon days of hard work, and they tell us that it is the economic conditions that are offered that puts them off, because on some occasions there are even breaches of labour regulations. So there we go, precarious and bad working conditions, some of the reasons why they can't get waiters to work in festivals like San Fermin this year. Now let's have a look at some of the comments from previous videos. One here from Ian. Hi Stuart, will there be any update from the Spanish government soon on lifting all travel restrictions for people travelling from the UK? Ian, thanks for the comment, but to be completely honest, I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen in the future with regards to those travel restrictions from people from the UK and other non-European Union countries. However, and what I will say is that given the fact that recently all restrictions from people travelling from European Union countries to Spain went away, I imagine that it's only a question of time before people from outside the European Union have the same conditions. And that's basically because it seems like the logical thing to do. So it could be this month, it could be next month, not 100% sure exactly when, but yes, I imagine that those travel restrictions for people from the UK and outside the European Union will be lifted. One here from Andrew. Did I hear that some parts of Spain will be reaching a scorching 43 degrees, I think in the south of the country? Bring on the summer. Take care. Yeah, Andrew, thanks for the comment, and you're right. Some parts of Spain, for example this one here where I am currently, Madrid, are suffering a heat wave at the moment. Very, very high temperatures, close to 40 degrees. And the forecast tomorrow for some parts of the country, I think mainly in Andalusia, Córdoba, Seville and the like, around 43 degrees Celsius. And summer hasn't even officially started yet, so I imagine that July and August are going to be very, very hot months this year. One here from Mark. Hi Stu, love your channel, very informative. On the olive oil chat, why are the prices going up so much? Nothing has changed, they have the same amount of trees and fields. You can't blame Putin for this. We're being mugged over. Anyway, keep up the great work. Mark and Sam from Seville, and Sam's mum Pauline from Horsham, UK, who is over on holiday. Yeah, Mark, thanks for the comment, and you're right, olive oil, very, very expensive at the moment. I read the other day that it's up some 53% on last year's prices. And I was also scratching my head wondering why this product has increased so much, given the fact that it is produced here in Spain. So I did some research and this is what I found. And as we can see here, the war in Ukraine drives up the price of olive oil in Spain. The Russian invasion of Ukraine has led to a price rise due to an increase in demand for sunflower oil and other seed oils, most of which come from Ukraine, the world's leading exporter of this raw material. For this reason, many consumers and caterers have opted for olive oil as an alternative, especially in its milder and cheaper categories, thus pushing up prices. This problem is compounded by the droughts currently affecting several olive groves in our country, which are also seeing increases in olive oil price markers. So there we go. According to that article, the war in Ukraine and severe drought in some parts of the country where they grow olives, the reason for the price hike in olive oil here in Spain. A lot of people in the catering industry obviously had trouble getting their hands on sunflower oil, canola oil and other seed-based oils, as we saw there, and they started to use olive oil, and that pushed the prices up. So it looks as though Mr. Putin is in some way partly to blame for the increase in olive oil prices here in Spain. One here from Anonymous Function. Hi there, your channel is very informative. Thanks. I will be travelling to Barcelona sometime around late September or early October. After 6 to 8 months from then, my family, spouse and 2 kids will be joining me. Can I get a 2-bedroom apartment near Sant Adrià in a good community at a price of €800? Yeah, Anonymous, thanks for the comment and good luck with your upcoming trip to Spain. And can you get a decent 2-bedroom apartment for that price that you mentioned, €800 a month, in that part of Barcelona? To be honest, I have absolutely no idea, but I went to real estate portal Idealista and I checked out some of the prices. Let's have a look. And as we can see here, it is possible to pick up something in that part of Barcelona at the price point you mentioned. In fact, you can find 65 square metre apartments there with 3 bedrooms for around 600 or 750 euros a month. And as we can also see, there are 34 flats or apartments on offer in that part of Barcelona. So check out Idealista for flats and apartments in that part of Barcelona and see if you can find something that takes your fancy. And finally, one here from Michael. From what I can see, the present airport chaos is not just a problem in Spain, but all over. They are all short of staff after the pandemic. It will only get worse during the summer. Yeah, Michael, thanks for the comment, and you're right, airport chaos not unique to Spain, unfortunately. It's happening in Australia, it's happening in the UK, it's happening in other European countries because of a lack of staff, and most likely it will only get worse over the summer months. So shortages of airport staff, shortages of waiters. It seems that there are many jobs out there that people just don't want to do anymore. On that note, I'll wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.